Have you ever been promised something absolutely incredible, only to be met with, well, complete silence? Now imagine waiting 25 years for that promise. Today, we are diving into one of the most puzzling waiting periods in all of history. It's a profound story about a divine mentorship that literally shaped the world. Let's get into it.
So here's the big question we're tackling. This wasn't just some random delay. It feels like there was a design behind it. We're talking, of course, about Abraham, a man who gets this world-changing promise from God, but then has to wait a quarter of a century to even see the beginning of it. Why? Seriously, why wait so long? The answer, it turns out, reveals a powerful secret about vision, preparation, and our own purpose. To really feel the weight of this wait, we have to start with his name. His original name was Abram, which means exalted father. Sounds pretty good, right? It's a strong, honorable name, a name that suggests legacy. But for Abram, it was a constant, painful reminder of the one thing he didn't have. And that's the gut-wrenching irony at the center of his life. Can you just imagine the shame, the whispers, every single time somebody said his name? Hey, exalted father. It was like a little jab, reminding him of his childlessness. In that culture, this wasn't just a private heartache. It was a public disgrace. And it's right into that deep, personal pain that God speaks. So picture this. Abram is 75 years old, and he gets this absolutely staggering promise. We're not just talking about a son. We're talking about a great nation, a legacy so huge it would bless the entire world. For a man whose biggest shame was his empty tent, this was the most incredible news you could possibly imagine. It was everything he ever wanted and so much more. So he does what he's told. He packs up, leaves everything, and starts walking. But here's the thing. The journey wasn't quite what he expected. The promise didn't just show up overnight. And this is where we find the first crucial lesson of this 25-year mentorship. You've got to understand the difference between the immediate mission and the ultimate vision. Okay, so let's break down this call from God because it has two really critical parts. You've got the short-term mission on one side. That was Abram's job. It was the action item, go. Pretty clear, right? But then you have the ultimate vision. I will make you into a great nation. Notice the words, I will make. That was God's job. This one little distinction is the key to this entire story. And Abram, just like most of us would, kind of mushed the two together. He heard this incredible vision of becoming a great nation and figured it was supposed to happen right away. He probably packed his bags, thinking his son would be born the minute he crossed the border. And this misunderstanding, it led to years and years of doubt, frustration, and a couple of really big, very human mistakes. So, what was actually going on during those 25 years? Well, it wasn't a passive delay. It wasn't God forgetting about him. It was an active, intentional, and, sometimes painful training program. God wasn't just making Abram wait, he was making him ready. This timeline really shows the ups and downs of that training. So at 75, he gets the call. He's full of faith. But look, by age 86, a decade has passed. Patience is wearing thin. He and Sarah decide to, help God out. They take matters into their own hands, and Ishmael is born. It's a human solution to a divine promise. And what happens next is so important. 13 years. For 13 years, God goes silent. Can you imagine? An entire chapter of his life just quiet. Now, this wasn't so much a punishment as it was a lesson in consequences. Abram tried to build God's vision with his own two hands, and the result was a lot of family drama and a long, quiet season where he had to live with that choice. That silence, it was part of the curriculum. When God finally does speak again, when Abraham is 99, the way he communicates is different. Over these 25 years, you can actually see God adapting his teaching style. It's like he's making the vision more tangible, more memorable, trying to embed it deeper into an old man's heart. Early on, the promise is tied to something visual, but it's pretty vast and a little abstract. Your offspring will be like the dust of the earth. You can see it, you can feel it between your fingers, but it's hard to really wrap your head around that number. It was a starting point, planting a seed of this massive, huge future. Then, God takes it up a notch. He takes Abram outside at night and tells him to look up. Now think about that. The stars aren't just countless. They're brilliant, they're distinct, they're celestial. This isn't just about quantity anymore. Now it's about glory. The visual is so much more awe-inspiring. You can almost feel God's patient care here, helping an aging man hold on to a hope that was probably starting to fade. And then, the final lesson. This is where the mentorship gets intensely personal and, frankly, terrifying. The vision is no longer dust or stars. It's Isaac. It's the real, living, breathing embodiment of the promise. And the test is to see if Abraham has finally learned who the true source of the vision is. The promise is literally in his hands, and God asks, do you trust the giver more than you love the gift?
This all brings us to the climax of the story, which actually happens right before Isaac is even conceived. At 99 years old, after those 13 long years of silence, God shows up again and gives Abraham a brand new mission. And this is the mission that unlocks absolutely everything. And this right here is the game changer. God's new command wasn't, go try harder to have a baby. It was an internal instruction. Walk before me and be whole. He was essentially saying, Abraham, your job is not to build the nation. Your job is to become the man who can father it. A vision this huge required a person of equally huge inner character and maturity. This just lays it all out so perfectly. Look at the two columns. Abraham's role, it was all about internal obedience, about character. He focused on becoming whole. He changed his name. He obeyed. And God's role, God handled all the massive external stuff. Abraham didn't have to build an army or a political system to create a nation. He just had to focus on his walk with God. And here it is. This is the big secret of the whole 25-year mentorship. The vision that kept Abraham going was actually God's mission for himself. God's mission for Abraham was just to become the right person. As soon as Abraham was ready, as soon as he had that inner wholeness he needed, God executed his own plan and fulfilled the vision through him. So what does this 4,000-year-old story have to do with us? Oh, everything. It invites us to totally reframe those long waits in our own lives. We see a delay and we think it's a failure or that we've been forgotten. But what if it's something else? What if that long wait, that silent season in your life, isn't a delay at all, but it's your own divine mentorship, preparing you on the inside for a promise that's bigger than you can possibly imagine?